12 last night, so we're talking below a 200 average.
I mean, is Cooper Rush worth 2.5 points? I would hope Quinn Ewers put up a decent stat line against Arizona State. If he didn't, we have a real problem.
You can say the same thing about Creighton. Okay, they had the one good game against Kansas at home.
When Toast talks about the kicking market, it's like I live by that mantra.
Andy,
true or false? This is going to be a dog walk.
Dog walking. This is my dog walking of the day. I think it's going to be very
dog walk.
I think this is going to be
done with that
ugly.
City, dirty city. Take a shower. Done.
Take a shower. What's up, everybody? Hope you all had a nice Thursday night. I had a good one. I went 2-1 in the NBA, and the bet that lost was my smallest bet. My two big bets hit. The Warriors Nets over was my biggest bet, and then I had a full unit on. What was my other bet, AJ?
I didn't hear the first.
Houston minus the 5, baby.
Houston minus the 5. And then I
first
lost.
Half,
yeah,
what I said was terrible. So congrats on the full game.
Well, they just got off to a bad start.
Quick. I was gonna say real quick, you know what's crazy? I meant to tell you this yesterday. Houston, as much as because I've been taking them first half. Well, most of the time I take them first half. They're actually more profitable, like as a road favorite for the full game than they are in the first half now. It's crazy. Like it's kind of reversing itself.
Well, I mean, what I discovered the other day when I was looking at that, I think I might be blindly betting Houston against bad rebounding teams as long as Şengün and Jabari are healthy, because they didn't even play well, but they just literally like
third quarter was like an 18-point quarter, and they play again tomorrow too.
And in the fourth quarter, when they were up like 9, 11, and I'm holding a -5, so I'm sitting there sweating. 2 minutes ago, you're up 9, you're not safe at all. Dude, they missed shot, offensive rebound, missed shot, offensive rebound.
I was watching.
Yeah, I was like, this is why I bet them right here. This is why I bet them.
Right? Yeah.
So yeah, had a nice Thursday night. Let's get into Friday. There are 8 games on the board. Slim pickings, man. The injury reports in some of these are astounding. This is like when people hate on the NBA, they're pointing at some of these injury reports, and I can't even defend it, honestly. It's pretty bad. In this first one, it looks like Cleveland's going to come out in full strength. They're on the road in Charlotte here. They really don't have any reason to rest pieces. They have a day off tomorrow. They do have a big game on deck. Who do they play on Sunday, Chris?
They play Milwaukee. Yep,
yeah.
They play the Bucks.
So the Cavs do have a much more important game on deck, but they have a day off, so it's not like I don't know if I'd call it a look-ahead spot or anything. Charlotte, one of the worst three-point defenses in the NBA. If Cleveland wants to win this game by 30, they certainly can. So it would only be Cleveland or pass. Maybe if you want to go Cleveland team total over, in case you're worried about the Cavs doing that thing where they're like, we're not going to play defense, we're just going to score 140 points they can't keep up. I get it. But it would only be Cleveland or pass for me here.
I mean, I don't know that there's much more to say than that. The Hornets haven't been doing anything well. They've gotten blown out, and they've even gotten blown out by Washington lately. Like, this is the bottom of the bottom where the Hornets are right now. So it's Cleveland in the past. I do understand that, they might not care as much about this game as the next game, but they're capable of blowing anybody out. So Cavs are for nothing. Maybe a Hornets team total. I mean, that could be a way to look.
Someone was, I think, I forget who said it, but someone in our group said that this morning. They like the Hornets team total 107.5. I think it's at. Does that make sense?
That's accurate. Yeah, that's accurate. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that does seem high. But here's the thing with this game. We know that if Cleveland wants to hold Charlotte under 107.5, they will, and it will be sweat free. But if they don't want to, then it could get a little sweaty. So, Chris, what are your thoughts?
Nothing outside of what y'all said already. I agree. You know what? The crazy thing here, though, Kyle, is like when you look at the trends, like Cleveland on the road, total higher than 235, it's like, boom, they fly over, right? They score 128, 129, 130. Charlotte defensively is terrible. And then when you look at Charlotte, like they were a really good defensive team, and it just completely fell off the earth. Like their defense is so bad as of late that we talked about like in the under the other day, Kyle, against Minnesota. Like Minnesota comes out, scores 40 points in the first quarter. So yeah, I'm not relying on them to play any defense. And it's the first leg of a back-to-back. They got Brooklyn tomorrow, so easy pass for me. But if I'm playing, I'm definitely laying here. I think Cleveland can win this game by 25 with their eyes closed.
Exactly. Let's move on to the next one. And this is this is my favorite bet of the night. The market is heavily against me. I don't really understand what the number's doing here. I bet the Jazz at plus 4.5. You can now get a 6 or a 6.5. reasons for this escape me. The Raptors are playing nobody. So I mean, no RJ Barrett, Grady Dick, still no Brandon Ingram, Jakob Poeltl. Remember how bad the Raptors were without Jakob Poeltl earlier in the year? They were terrible.
I got some numbers when you done.
Yeah. Chris is about to read off some on and off splits with Poeltl. They're awful. They're terrible without Poeltl on the floor. They cannot protect the basket at all. And believe it or not, the Jazz have been profitable against these bad teams. Even when they sit their main pieces, they've still been covering numbers against these bad teams. I mean, against bottom 10 offenses, the Jazz are 12-2 against the spread. 12-2 against the spread, against offenses rated into the bottom 10. Against defenses that can't protect the basket, which is Toronto's main weakness. They're 30th, dead last. 10-2 against the spread, against the bottom 10. The Jazz have been covering against these bad teams. Now, not only do you have a bad team, you have a bad team sitting everybody. I don't know what I'm missing. I mean, if I was booking action on this, I'd have this at close to a pick. So I have no idea. Obviously, I'm missing something. There's no way that the market is 6 points off. There's some aspect of this game that I'm not seeing. But I think the Jazz have a very legitimate chance to win this game outright.
Well, I mean, you can't forget to mention who the Jazz have on the injury report, right? Yes, they have Kessler in, but Markkanen out, Clarkson out, Collins out, George's game time. Like, you could be missing a lot for the Jazz too. And the Jazz, I mean, they haven't been playing the best basketball. They damn sure haven't been starting game strong. Second half, they've been playing a lot better, but I don't think they've covered the first half yet. They actually have not covered the first half yet. So, I don't know. This is a really, really dirty game. I'm surprised that it's your favorite one of the night. I'll let you have it because I don't have a bet on the game. Yeah,
this is my favorite bet of the night, partially because there's not a lot of great games on the board. But yeah, I think this number's way off, honestly. So Utah up. Prop Beaver, do I see you on the screen here? You got something?
I guess technically, if we're going by volume, this would have to be one of my favorite games of the night too, because I have 2 bets in this one. If they would drop a goddamn Jamal Shed line, I'd have 3 bets in this game because I'm looking at a Jamal Shed steals line. The Jazz just keep coughing up the ball like it's nobody else's business. First, we're going to talk about Jacoby Walter. Nobody is available for the Raptors right now. I mean, nobody. We got no Ochai Agbaji. We got no RJ Barrett. I mean, in terms of shooting guards and small forwards for the Raptors, literally nobody is ahead of Jacoby Walter in this spot. And the last 2 minutes, he's starting to see his moment arise, I guess. We saw 31 and 28 minutes. If you look with 25-plus minutes this season, 6 and 3 to the over, averaging 2.1 3-pointers made. And more importantly, without RJ Barrett on the floor, he's now attempted 4-plus 3-pointers his last 8 of 9 contests, averaging 5 3-point attempts per game. If you look, with 4 3-point attempts, he's over his last 9 of 13 contests, specifically his last 5 of 6 at home. And what do we know about this Jazz defense? They are awful at defending the 3-ball, especially as of late. And with Walker Kessler in to protect the rim, they should be funneling shots to the outside yet again here. So I really like that Jacoby Walter play, lesser known guy here. And then also I like Walker Kessler in a spot where he should get more usage without guys like Lauri Markkanen and Collins on the floor. Without that duo on the floor this season, 4 and 2 to the over. It's averaging 16 points per game on an average 16% usage. Now it's going to face a Raptors team that when they have Jakob Poeltl on the floor, they've actually played some pretty good rim defense, but without him, they are terrible at protecting the rim. And if you look, with just a 10% usage rate against bottom 16 rim defenses, Kessler 8 and 4 to the over this season. He's averaging 14 points per game. And this is a team that he's had a lot of success before against. Kessler, I'm speaking about. 17, 23, and 10 points in contests with 21 minutes against this Raptors team. 10 of 15 centers who profile similarly to Kessler, according to Props Madness, have Kessler line against Toronto. So let's see it, Kessler. I know Sexton's back in the lineup, which I guess he could be a usage machine himself, but it also takes a little bit of pressure off of Kessler offensively in terms of defense. So with him cutting to the basket, I think that Sexton's going to open things up, get him some looks. So yeah, Walter and Kessler both over.
Chris?
This is so disgusting. I don't even really like giving out plays on the Jazz, but I'm right there with you, Cal. I can't lay 6.5 points without Jakob Poeltl and without RJ Barrett. So Toronto is 2-11 straight up. We're not even talking about against the spread. 2-11 straight up without Jakob Poeltl on the floor. in the 13 games that they played. They've gotten out rebound by an average of 8 per game, and they're allowing 13 offensive rebounds per game. If you just look at like who in the NBA is allowing 13 offensive rebounds per game, nobody is. So this would be the worst offensive rebound. They would give up more offensive rebounds than any other team. So I think that they're kind of neutralized here. Then I looked at Toronto without RJ Barrett. 3-10 straight up when RJ Barrett is in the lineup. And in those games, they're averaging 103.7 points per game. So their offense is going to take a step back, even though the Jazz defense is bottom 5. Then a couple other things. 1-5 straight up without RJ and Jakob Poeltl. Utah actually still covering numbers. They're 9-6 against the spread in their last 16, 7-3 against the spread in their last 10. You add on to the fact that Toronto is just 2-3 straight up and against the spread as a home favorite. And it's their first game back home after a 4-game road trip. They probably feeling themselves after beating Orlando a couple times in a row. I think I got a plus 6.5, Kyle. And I didn't even send it out. It was like a personal play. But yeah, I got a little bit of money on Utah in this spot because I think that they can keep it close. I also bet Isaiah Collier under his points prop. The number's gone now. I got a 13.5 last night. It's down to 12.5. But I found it was just a crazy trend on Isaiah Collier, who doesn't really score a lot, but he facilitates well. He gets some rebounds as well. I found this with Isaiah with what's his name? With Colin Sexton, like off the injury report and playing in the games. They've played together 29 times. Isaiah Collier is under his 13.5 points in 28 of the 29 games. That's like a 97% hit rate. So I did bet that. I actually got 2 bets in the same game as well, probably. But this is an ugly, gross game.
Someone asked about the sense ball index. Colin Sexton's playing, so this is not a sense ball spot. Need Sexton out to play sense a goat. Next.
And also I'd like to hear that Modi is also on the Kessler play too. So I'm telling you, these ugly games are good for the props. So love to hear.
I hope so.
Like yesterday, I was getting notifications on YouTube. Comments were coming in. Beaver's out here printing money. It's like when Beaver speaks, we listen.
I went 0-5 yesterday.
And when he got in, I was like, "Oh, did you have a good night?" Because I got a lot of comments were saying that, and he goes, "No, I went 1-5."
No, I got murdered. Well, it's to be fair. I mean, it was Quentin Grimes. That was all of it. I went 0-4 on Quentin Grimes, and then my stupid Nemhard steal prop didn't even. Whatever. Next game. Next.
Memphis on the road in Dallas. I blind faded the Mavs at open. I know Memphis has been bad, specifically on the defensive end. They're really struggling to make stops, really missing Jaren Jackson Jr. So the idea of laying 8.5 points on the road with Memphis is kind of crazy. But I did the same thing with the current rendition of Dallas Mavericks the other night. Took Bucks minus 9.5 as soon as I saw it. This is not a good team right now with the current injuries. I mean, I don't even have to read them off, but everyone's out for the Mavs. This is not. I mean, Dwight Powell's one of the most important pieces in the current Mavs rotation. This gives you a good indication of where they're at as a team, riddled with injuries. So, yeah, you could put Memphis up for me. Was it at 9.5 now? Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say, like, oh, I'd play it up to this number because there's a lot of uncertainty here with what we're going to expect from Dallas. But I did play the Grizzlies at minus 8.5 at open.
Well, at least you got a good number. Grizzlies have not been covering. Like you mentioned, the defense has been really, really poor. Haven't covered a game, double-digit favorites. I don't know. It just doesn't sit well with me. But I can understand why. Dallas it's just not much left over there. Like, who can you really trust to score? And that's how I want to look at this game. I don't have to mention all of the people out for them, but the team total for Dallas right now is 114.5. And they've only hit that once post All-Star. I understand that the Grizzlies defense has looked subpar to say the least post All-Star, but they were good before the All-Star. So that means there's potential for them to return back to that. And, they gave up, I think, 130 in back-to-back games. They did a little bit better versus OKC, even though OKC is, the best team right now record-wise, I think. So I would like to think they continue to focus on defense. And if they do, I mean, just the way Dallas has looked lately, if they can play defense versus anybody, it's this Mavs team right now. So I'm looking at a Mavs team total under 114.5.
Someone said, Kyle, Caleb Martin's making his debut today. That is not confirmed. He's still listed as questionable. And, I mean, even if he does, how much does he move the needle? He hasn't played in 2 months. He hasn't played since January 10th. In his last 5 games in action, he was averaging 28 minutes a game and averaging about 6 points a game. Like how much does Caleb Martin in his first game in 2 months move the needle? I mean, not that
at least 3.5 points, guys.
Yeah, I don't even think he would move the handicap a half a point for me. Like,
I was distracted by Kyle looking at the corner of his screen. Ski, what did you say for your pick? Do you want anything under your face or no?
Mavs team total under 114.5.
Okay, all right.
You can put that up for me too, probably. That's the way that I'm kind of looking in this spot as well. I wish I would have got the 8.5, but I mean, y'all talked about the injuries. The other thing is like just the matchup, right? Like even if Dallas was like pretty healthy, like Memphis is a team that lives at the rim, and Dallas can't stop teams from getting to the rim. Like they just scoring at will. Like I'm not gonna read off the numbers. The other thing I looked at was Memphis has been a double-digit favorite twice this season. They actually won and covered both games. They beat the Wizards by 28. They were laying 10. They beat Toronto by 31. They were laying 10.5. I think I was on them in that spot. And you got a Dallas team now without Luka and Kyrie. It's been 11 games without both of those players. They're 2-9 against the spread without Luka and Kyrie. And Dallas has played actually 12 games without Luka and Kyrie. And in those games, they've stayed under 115 in all of them except 4. And some of those games even had Lively and PJ Washington, et cetera, in them. So I agree with Ski. I think that's probably the best way to play it right now. Memphis probably can slow down this version of the Dallas Mavericks, if anybody at all.
Yo, I don't have anything against Caleb Martin. In response, like I'm just saying, like he doesn't move the needle for me right now. I'm not saying he's a bad player. I wasn't like shitting on Caleb Martin.
Wow.
Rob, what do you got?
Playoff Caleb Martin's a different man, but regular season, I don't know. Also, they're always hurt. So yeah, wrong guy on the screen here. 1 second. Where is he? Dinwiddie. There we go. Yeah, I'm on Dinwiddie over 5.5 assists here. Sure, the spread is big, but so is the opportunity ahead of our friend here. I mean, Memphis moves at a lightning fast pace. And as we've mentioned, I mean, this team's just not playing defense since the break. We've now seen the last 13 of 16 point guards to get an assist line against some cash or individual over. And if you look the last 2 games with Kyrie hurt, we've seen Dinwiddie hit this mark in both of them. He had 8 and 10 potential assists despite playing some better defenses. And without Luka and Kyrie on the court in 25-plus minutes specifically, he's 6-3 to the over, averaging 6 per game. With 8-plus potential assists, he's now cashed his line in 6 straight games, averaging 7, and 65% of games this season, averaging 6.3. If you look, with just 25-plus minutes at home against bottom 15 defenses and assists allowed, he's extremely profitable in these spots. 6-1 to the over, not averaging 6, but 7.3 assists per game. Pure play on the number and the odds. I forget who's always coming on the show and saying this, but some people don't like laying points on the road with bad defenses. I mean, Memphis defense is as horrible as they come. I wouldn't be shocked if Dallas somehow, some way manages to keep this close. So I don't know. I'm going to ride with Dinwiddie here at that low VIG and 5.5 to get 6 assists for us here.
Well, I mean, even if it is a blowout, does Dallas even have the pieces to take him off the floor? How many active players on the roster?
No, I mean, that's a great point. And I mean, the last game, the Mavericks got their ass beat. Dinwiddie only played 28 minutes, I believe, and still he was able to get those 6 assists on 10 potential. So I just think that this price is a little disrespectful, and it takes too much into account the blowout risk. If this was at 6.5, maybe I'm off of it, but 5.5, I think this is a go here, especially at that low VIG. If this was like minus 130, maybe we're talking different story.
Next. Portland, Oklahoma City. What do you guys think? What do you guys think here?
I think you skip it. What you think, we don't even know Chet's going to play.
For those of you that don't know why we're joking around, the Oklahoma City Thunder are resting everybody. Hartenstein, SGA, Dort, Mitchell, Wallace, Jalen, everyone that's all right. So if you take like the 8 most important pieces for Oklahoma City, 6 of them are sitting. And the reason for that is I can't say I don't understand the reason though. Did you look at Oklahoma City's upcoming schedule?
They got Denver, right?
No, not just Denver. So after this game, they got Denver on ABC, Sunday afternoon, like primetime standalone game. Right after that, they got Denver again the next day. After that, they're in Boston on ESPN. So after this game, after this one against Portland, they have 3 of the biggest games of the year back to back to back. So, I mean,
so what you mean, Kyle, is that Chet probably won't play in this game either because they're gonna need him for those games too.
They might want to get Chet some reps though with all the time he missed. But look, I know not everyone's not the NBA fans as a whole don't love the load management. I will say this one makes a little bit of sense. They have 3 massive games all in a row right after this. So especially you got the Nuggets back to back. You're not going to want to rest any of your pieces. You want to put your full lineup out there in both games against the Nuggets. So I get it. That being said, in terms of placing a bet here, I mean, I'd rather Ski give us a horse to bet on or something.
Yeah, I've been winning on these horses lately too.
I believe it. I've seen it in action.
I've been able to pick.
Hey, why don't you got a horse to share on the show, man?
I'll bring one next show. How about that? I didn't look today.
All right.
But this game, I'll say like this. How about we try to find something? Portland was mentioned on the show, maybe last week or maybe I don't think it was yesterday, so it had to be last week, as playing that the fastest pace in the league. They're not the fastest anymore, but still playing up tempo. Thunder, I know the lineups and everything is going to be different, but they enjoy a up tempo, fast paced game as well. Number 5 in pace post All-Star. Thunder defense hasn't been the same as we saw, pre All-Star. They're close to bottom 10. A lot of their games have been 250 plus. I mean, they're telling us they don't really care about this game that much, right? You think they're going to go out there and play a lot of defense? I think this game should be up and down, and I think the market, I understand why it's come down as low as 228, but when is it too low? I think 228 could be too low.
I'm down. Put it over up for me too. Sounds good. Yeah, I don't have anything. I don't have anything.
Great. Me too. I don't got nothing. I got what Ski got.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to make something happen, man.
Yeah. I mean,
make something out of nothing.
Portland has been playing a significantly faster pace since Ayton got hurt, without a doubt. I mean, who knows what kind of game we're going to see from Oklahoma City eventually in this one with all the pieces out. But we know Portland's going to be trying to run, so sounds good. Let's move on to the next one. Look, a lot of moving pieces here. All right, Minnesota, Miami. So let's see if there's any injury updates I missed. Now, Gobert's still questionable. Got a few pieces still missing on the Miami side in terms of questionable. Tyler Hero might not play. Jaime Jaquez Jr., Andrew Wiggins, Alec Burks. Tough to make a call with the current injury report. I will say, if you want to go based on how these two teams have been playing recently, like let's use the last 5 games, the last 10 games, should see a lot of 3-point shooting. And I know that these two teams, like kind of what we think of when we think of the Minnesota Timberwolves or the Miami Heat, we think of defense, we think of low scoring. I mean, these two teams played earlier in the year. The score was 95-94. So that's kind of how the Minnesota Timberwolves or Miami Heat are, I guess, branded or known. But based on how they're playing the last few games, the last couple weeks, it would be over here. I think 215.5 would be too low. That being said, I didn't bet it. I mean, I'm not trying to hold an over ticket if Gobert plays and Tyler Hero, Wiggins, and like all the pieces for the Heat sit, because then it's like who's even scoring for the Heat here. So that's the way I'd go, but I couldn't actually pull the trigger on it. Prop Beaver, you got an over up there.
I actually like the over quite a bit. Because, I mean, historically, when these two teams play, when they play in Minnesota, very low scoring. But when they play at Miami, for some weird reason, they always set the total extremely low. And then it goes over. I believe it's 7-1 to the over in their last 8 matchups at Miami. If you look, Minnesota on the road has been extremely profitable to the over as of late. Whatever the reason may be, I have no clue. But they have been extremely profitable to the over as of late on the road. And Miami, I feel like in seasons past, have been a big under team at home. If you look at the Miami Heat at home, I'm trying to pull this up real quick on StatMuse. So Miami against spread at home real quick. It's loading. 1 second. Okay, I'm about to pull it up. They have been over machines at home as of late. 1, 2, 3, 4. They are 11-3 to the over in their last 14 games, these Miami Heat we are speaking about right now. And they haven't even been that good offensively for most of that span. Their offense is really starting to pick it up right now. And if you look at both of these defensive units, they haven't been playing that great as of late. Now you just mentioned before the fact that both these three-point offenses are starting to heat up right now. Both the three-point defenses are starting to cool down. And I think that we could see some points right here. So 215.5 is extremely low to me. The reason why I still haven't bet this yet is I would like to see Rudy Gobert out. Or at the very least, a Tyler Hero in. So if I could get Rudy Gobert out or Tyler Hero in, I'm going to try and rush to the window and get something 217 or lower to take for an over here. If it's above 217, I think that's where I withdraw myself. But 217 or lower, I'm going to get to the window on an over if Rudy Gobert's out or Tyler Hero's in.
Ski over?
I like it. I like it. I mean, I talked about this with RC last night. Even though the Heat are playing at the slowest pace in the league post All-Star, I mean, still both teams have been over teams. I know both teams are 6-2 to their team total overs post All-Star, so both able to score. But like Prop Beaver said, I gotta wait on the injury report for this one. So I like what you said as far as the 3-point shooting. So give me Gobert out, give me Hero in or something like that. As long as it's not, Gobert in and Hero out, I'm kind of willing to take this bet.
Agree 100% with what you just said. Chris?
Hey, that's why you gotta wait, Cal, because we took the Cleveland over the other day against Miami, and Tyler Hero got ruled out, and we got screwed. But I don't have anything else to add. I see the game exactly the way y'all see it. Let me get Rudy Gobert out. I'm rushing to the window too. I need Tyler Hero in though, because I need some offense, and I think maybe even less defense for Miami because they play Chicago tomorrow too. So first leg of a back-to-back for them.
Yeah, and I mean, the reason, because you might be thinking, Kyle, why don't you just go bet Minnesota team total over? That way you don't got to wait for Tyler Hero. The thing is, if Tyler Hero's ruled out, you're going to see like Davion Mitchell play significant minutes. Do you remember his nickname in college? He was called Off Night because whoever he was guarding had an off night. Like, he could play some defense, Davion Mitchell. And
if Darius Garland about it last game, Kyle. That's what kept us from going over last game.
Right. So if like all of a sudden this Heat team that hasn't been playing the best defense, you take Tyler Hero out and give 30-plus minutes to Davion Mitchell, 30-plus minutes to Bam Adebayo, all of a sudden the Heat defense could look pretty good. So, yeah, it's probably just over a pass. Let's move on.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I will say, Terry Rozier played a lot of that last game because Hero was out. And Terry Rozier, not only is he awful this season, he's an abomination on the road. It will help that he will be at home this year. So I will probably still play it for at least a half unit if Hero's out and Gobert is out as well. But just saying.
You called Terry Rozier an abomination?
Yeah, this season, he's an abomination.
Spurs, Kings, and Sacramento. I think this number's too high, man. I get it. Sacramento's been looking pretty good. They've played a questionable schedule recently, so I don't know how seriously we take the recent numbers for the Kings, but they have been playing well. They've been playing good basketball. Spurs haven't. That being said, no Malik Monk, no Sabonis. I don't know. It's a good matchup for the Kings, which just I don't see the Kings. This is when the Kings choke, right? That's what the Kings do. When you start to believe in the Kings, when they start to play well, you get them in a spot like this at home, laying points to a team they should beat the shit out of, and they lose outright. That's like Kings basketball too. I just summarized the Kings from 2022 to now. They start to look good. You believe in them. They're at home against a bad team, laying a big number. They lose outright. So I just think we follow Kings tradition here, and they lose this one. The time to play the Kings would be after they lose this one, and then they play a decent team catching a number. That's the time you play on the Kings. But with no Malik Monk, no Sabonis, Spurs are going to turn the tempo up. I don't know. Spurs are pass. I feel like we're just throwing darts in the dark here in this matchup.
Yeah, I don't really want a whole lot to do here. I thought about. I really wanted to take De'Aaron Fox on his points versus old team, but he hasn't really been scoring lately. Like, he really what it is, he's not getting to the free throw line. I think in his last few games, like, he's only had 8 free throws total. Like, he used to get like 8 free throws a game. So it's not even the field goal attempts. So combination of those things made me kind of stay off, but I really wanted to bet Fox points today.
Fox back in his old building. Is this his first time back? Does anyone know?
First time. Yep. Yeah. No, it's first time. He just got traded like a couple weeks ago.
So Fox revenge spot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Little Fox revenge. Yep. And Kyle, I it sucks that most of the time we don't agree as much, but I'm right there with you. I'm not laying points with the Kings. They've been one of the worst ATS teams at home. You typically want them catching points like they were in Denver the other day. I know that they're number one defensive rated team over the last 5 games, but like you mentioned, like I have trouble thinking that they're going to be able to score the basketball. I know San Antonio's defense has not been great either, but I just don't want to lay this many points with Sacramento at home, especially with it being their first game back home. I think it's like a 5-game road trip for them as well. So yeah, I'm right there with you. It'd be San Antonio plus the points, but I didn't bet it.
Prop Beaver, he's on the screen. He's got something.
Yeah, I'm betting on Jonas Valanciunas. I took his over 11.5 rebounds. Pretty sure you could still get this at -106 on FanDuel. At least that's what I last checked. You look at the last 3 games since Sabonis got hurt. We've seen Valanciunas clear the mark in 2 or 3 of them. He's averaging 12 rebounds, 28 minutes, 21 chances. If you look, take 3 of those chances away with just 18 plus, still 10-2 this season, and he's averaging 13 rebounds per game. And he has fantastic history against San Antonio with 18 rebound chances. He's over his last 4 or 5 against them. He's averaging 13 rebounds per game. And with 23 plus minutes, just 23 against teams in the top 15 apace this season, he's over his last 5 or 6. He's averaging 13 rebounds per game. If you look at what similar centers in terms of rebounding profile have done against the Spurs this season, 11 of 15 have gone over their mark, and the centers who have faced the Spurs without Wembanyama on the court have especially been going nuclear. I saw a guy in the comments, Harry, I think it was Azrak, say he had his neck surgery or whatever, and he still tuned into the show. I want to shout out that guy, a true supporter right there. So shout out to that guy, and yeah, go Jonas Valanciunas. Let's grab some boards tonight, buddy, huh? Let's have some class.
So someone said the Kings are 4-1 against the spread in their last 5 as favorites, and that's true. Just wanted to point out who they played, and that's kind of what I was talking about with the Kings' schedule. They played Charlotte. They played the Jazz with everyone sitting, so like the Jazz second unit. They played Houston with no Van Vliet. We know how. Not that that's an absolute terrible matchup, but that's not. Well, I don't think they were favorites in that game anyway. They played the Mavs without anybody. Then they just played Denver with no Aaron Gordon, and they lost that game by 6. So that would be one of the ones that they were favored. They've played a lot of bad teams recently. That's the moral of the story here. Let's move on to the next one. Thanks, Justin, for the super chat.
Okay.
Phoenix, Denver. Man, just tell me if Gordon and Jokic are playing, because this could be a decimation of the Suns. So obviously everyone's going to like Denver here at home against the Suns. But the reason I like Denver in particular is, I can't believe I'm saying this, I think this is a play on the Denver defense. The Suns offense has looked great the last handful of games. Looks like I'm looking at the game logs here. Looks like 7 games ago is where the Suns kind of got their shit together offensively. You take a closer look. So the Suns offense has looked great for 7 games. Against who? The Bulls. That defense is trash. The Spurs. That defense, since Wemby's been out, trash. The Raptors. That's a good defense. So, okay, they've been playing good defense. They lost to the Raptors. That was their loss. After that, they played Memphis. They haven't been playing good defense since January. The Pelicans twice, trash defense. Minnesota, that's a solid defense, but it was Minnesota with no Gobert, and they lost that game. Didn't cover either. And then the Clippers without Powell, that defense hasn't been good in a month either. So the Suns' offense looks great in the last 7 games. They haven't played a decent defense in a while, and the few times they have seen a decent defense, they lost. So Denver, not really a team known for its defense, but they've got they're okay. They're an average defensive team. It's actually going to be the toughest defense the Suns have seen, and I think it's a sell high in the Suns' offense. On the other side of the court, we don't even need to discuss it. Denver has a top 5 offense, one of the best offenses in the NBA. The Suns don't even know how to spell defense. I mean, the Suns have the worst defense in the league, I'd say, bottom 2 or 3. Specifically, they're the worst defense in the league in transition, which is what this year's Denver team does. They love to get out and run. Denver should be able to name their number here at home against this Phoenix defense. So, I mean, if you tell me Jokic and Gordon is playing, I like the Nuggets by double digits. It's tough to place a bet without knowing that. I also like how the Suns beat them on Christmas Day with no Booker. So it's not like they'll even take this team lightly either. I mean, I think the Nuggets will beat the hell out of them if these two guys are in. That's how I feel about this one.
Man, I have thoughts. So first of all, when I heard you say it's a play on Denver's defense, I'm like, it's kind of how I want to feel, but I couldn't say those words. I'm glad you say it before I try to say it. Then you say, I want to, sell against the Suns offense, and then I get pulled back in. I'm with everything you selling right there as far as the teams they've been playing lately, et cetera, et cetera. And I look at the meetings for both of these teams. For whatever reason, when these teams match up, there's not a whole lot of points scored. So,
yeah.
Phoenix team total 115.5 hasn't hit the last 4 times they've played. I don't even know how much. Like I just know I don't trust Phoenix defense. I can't trust them in any kind of under I want to be involved in. So I guess that's the way for me to fade Phoenix offense. Phoenix team total under 115.5.
Someone said Phoenix after a win, and I just looked it up. So the Suns haven't won 2 games in a row since January. Yeah, that actually hasn't happened often many times this year. So the Suns coming off a win. Yeah, I didn't even think of that. But Ski's right in a sense that all 3 times these teams have met, it's staying under the total. So weirdly, you look at these 2 teams, you wouldn't think under. They tend to play lower scoring games. But I mean, when you see a lower scoring game, it's not always because the defense played well. It could just be the pace of the game. I think Denver's going to have no problem. If they're healthy, they should have no problem scoring in this one. Chris?
Yeah, I agree with everything you said, Kyle, and I agree with everything Ski said. So, yeah, not too much to add here. You described it in a long way, Kyle, by going through and, talking about who Phoenix had been scoring against. You could just say that they played the 3rd easiest strength of schedule over the last 5 games. And on the opposite side for Denver, they played a really tough schedule. Actually, number 1 in strength of schedule over the last 5 games for Denver. So, yeah, I'm only looking towards Denver. But I think to Ski's point is, and this is why I said this on my show earlier, if Jokic doesn't play, I think Denver's defense gets even better. So I would look towards Phoenix team total to go under even more because I think they're going to play a lot slower. So we'll see if he actually plays or not. I know it is like an ankle injury. They do got the big game coming up against OKC. I know Bradley Beal got rolled in. Who cares? So, yeah, it'd be Denver minus the points or that team total under, but I didn't bet either one of them because I want to see what happens with Jokic. But I definitely agree with both of you.
Someone says, these guys don't watch ball for real. The Suns have better shooters. They'll literally double Jokic. Man, have you been watching the Suns recently? If you've been betting the Suns, you had to take out a second mortgage on your house, dude. They're 5-22 against the spread. If you've bet the Suns the last 27 games, you are broke. Like, they are terrible.
No,
like,
have you watched Nikola Jokic? Try double teaming Nikola Jokic. I triple dog dare you. That's a good strategy.
Yeah, we all just think it's
look
assist
up the profiles. You just hear the comments like that, and you just know. Yeah, they're a fan of that team.
It has to be. Or they've just woken up from a coma, like right after Durant got traded. Like, what are you talking about? Durant, Booker. I haven't watched any of it, but they're there. Or they have like a 2K franchise with them. They're like, I'm dominating. I've won back-to-back championships. Like, what are you talking about? They're nice, Durant, Booker. I can't lose. Pass on this next one.
Oh, man, that's the funniest thing I think I ever heard you say, Cal.
I'm passing on this game, so you guys want to talk about it?
Oh, you don't even want to mention it anymore. I thought I was waiting for this.
No, there's nothing to say. There's a bunch of bullshit. And yo, dead. All right. No, we need to use a metaphor because I don't think people really understand what happened. I don't think people really understand what happened last night. If our football teams are battling, and 2 minutes to go, my quarterback gets hurt. Obviously, you can't flex that win. It's like, oh shit, like, all right, like, we'll find out next time. That's how I look at it. That's why we have Brunson to finish out these games. We had our quarterback was injured to finish out the game. So, I mean, whatever. It's not a big deal. It's fine.
And he's out tonight, right?
Yes. I'm reading mild sprained ankle, so I don't think it's anything serious. Definitely won't be playing tonight.
Yeah, I kind of have mixed feelings about this one. Should have been on the Clippers early. If you're betting the Clippers now, you're really late. But the total, open 224, down as low as 216.5. I kind of have like a thing where teams stay in LA and they don't really play much defense when they're on the back-to-back in LA playing either the Lakers and the Clippers or the Clippers and the Lakers. And I could absolutely see that happening here for New York. Brunson missing makes me think that it hurts the offense, but at the same time, it could mean they start to play a little bit faster. I feel like Brunson is a little bit slower. So I want to get there with over. I haven't pushed the button yet. Chris, can you help me?
Hold on. Comment said, Kyle, the Knicks were down at that point. That's false. When Brunson left the game, it was a tie. It was tied with a minute and a half left. Come on now. It was a tie game with a minute and a half left. Any NBA team, any team in NBA history tied with a minute and a half left, if you take away their best player, the whole thing's void. It's like the bet should be void too, honestly. But like certainly the discussion the next day is void. I knew when it happened. I was like, "Oh, we're not talking about this. Like, there's a void. It's just the whole situation's void."
Leg show. Hey, Cal, you know Lakers got Boston tomorrow. You fading them?
I don't know. It depends. Boston's the way they're managing their lineup. It's like whack-a-mole.
Yeah, that's true.
We'll see who plays.
We know everybody gonna play because they're playing the Lakers. Just like OG, healed up last night. Like everybody will play. Porzingis already said, "Yeah, I'll be back tomorrow." Yeah, the illness.
Porzingis said that. Trust me,
yeah.
as a Knicks fan, I have a long history with Porzingis. Nothing he says means shit. Like, just don't. His words are meaningless.
All right, let's get back to this game. So, Ski, you talked about the over. That's the way I want to go too, right? So, a couple things I looked at. First was the Knicks on the second leg of a back-to-back, and they've been god-awful defensively. I think they're giving up like 125 points per game in this spot. They played 9 games on the second leg of a back-to-back. 8 of them have actually gone up and over the total this season. 7 of their 9 opponents have actually cleared their team total as well. Knicks also just 1-4 ATS and have allowed 3 of their 5 opponents to go up and over their team total off an overtime game. So I was thinking about isolating Clippers team total. I know Norm Powell's not there, but I do think, like you said, that the Knicks will play a little bit faster. I looked at the Clippers. They have taken advantage of opponents that come into town, and they're unrested as well. They're 5-2 against the spread in those spots, winning by an average of 15 points, and they've gone up and over their team total in 5 of those 7 games. So maybe isolated. But the other thing I looked at, Ski, was the offense doesn't really take too much of a dip without Jalen Brunson on the floor. It's weird because I thought that they would average like, maybe 5 or 6 points less per possession. It's like 1 point per possession. And I thought that number would decrease. So I do think Ty Lue is a really good coach. I think that he's going to run the Knicks based on them being in overtime last night. I mean, you shouldn't have to think too hard about that. So I'm with you, Ski. I didn't pull the trigger yet. I'll see how low it gets, but I think with a number this low, I think we probably see it over as well.
You guys are forgetting an important aspect of this. The Clippers are really bad without Powell. It's not a good team.
They won the last game.
I thought they just
they
lost.
should be able to score. They should be able to score. Remember, they came back and they beat Detroit.
Wait.
Hold on,
They beat Detroit. Remember, I had Detroit.
Yes, they won their last game.
Beat Detroit, and they lost the game before against the Suns.
They're 2-7 against the spread in their last 9.
Mm-hmm.
They just scored 123 with no power, is all I'm saying.
Dude, Detroit was on a back-to-back, weren't they?
No, Detroit was not on they were on the back-to-back. That's why I took Detroit.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So the Clippers are good now, is what you're saying?
No. I just said the Clippers can score because everybody scores against the Knicks on the second leg of a back-to-back. I just told you.
8-1 to the over.
Yeah, 8-1 to the over. 7 of the 9 opponents have gone up and over their team total. They're giving up 125 on average.
But you replace Brunson with Deuce McBride, high energy.
And that's just more threes. Yep, more threes could contribute to the party. Yeah, I like it.
Better defense.
Not better defense, Kyle. Brunson. I know Brunson's not the greatest defender, but neither is McBride.
That's what we need to look at.
Man, give me the Knicks. Give me the Knicks.
Knicks only played 1 game without Brunson, Ski, and they won. It was at home at Madison Square Garden against the Jazz. So you can't really use that as a sample. I think the Jazz didn't have anybody.
I'm sorry.
The Knicks blew them out.
That's why I was confused. I was looking at the wrong team's game logs. The Clippers, they beat Detroit. Before that, they were 0-8 against the spread in an 8-game span.
Yeah, nobody talking about laying points, Kyle.
And
I'm not laying this many points.
You were talking about scoring points.
Over.
Yeah, so
it's over, though.
Man, 7.5. This team sucks. This team
So-
sucks
Cal
without
wants us
Powell.
like
He want to take the spread. Yeah.
I want to
We
take
got-
the Knicks. I want to take one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference, catching 7.5.
Oh my
over
God.
without their alpha overtime game. Without, no, I'm with you though. Yeah, I don't want to lay points with the Clippers. Like the Clippers gonna clip. That Ski told me that 3 years ago. So I'm with you there, Cal. I just want to take over more than just taking the side. You think it goes under 218?
I don't know.
No, you don't. Just go ahead and say it. Like, go ahead and say, yeah, I like over 2, Chris.
Knicks team total over. I might bet the Knicks. I don't know. I gotta regroup mentally on the Knicks. I need to just. Last night sucked, dude. That was like we deserved that game. It'd be like picture the Chiefs and Bills played, and then Josh Allen got hurt with 2 minutes left, and then Chiefs fans were talking shit after. Like, dude, like, come on. That's how I feel. All right, that's it.
Yeah.
You got an underdog prop, Beaver?
Yeah, I do have an underdog, yeah. Yeah, so for our underdog of the day, we've got Spencer Dinwiddie higher than 5.5 assists, and then they didn't have the Valanciunas rebound line regularly, but I'm actually fine with the points of rebounds as well. For some reason, Valanciunas owns the San Antonio Spurs. Go ahead and look at that historical database in terms of the points against the Spurs. Dude goes nuclear against them every time he faces them. Bismack Biyombo, to put it lightly, I wouldn't call him the greatest defender these days. I think he's at the back end of his career. And without Monk and Sabonis on the court, his usage rate should be through the roof, should get the minutes, should have plenty of rebound chances. So Dinwiddie and Valanciunas are 2 guys today. The underdog promo of the day is none other than Luka Doncic, over a half total point. So I don't believe he plays today, but tomorrow you can use him as a free leg. If you don't like one of those plays today and you want to wait till tomorrow, you can do so. If you're not an Underdog customer and would like to become one, you can if you are in one of these lovely yellow states. Just got to use the promo code BET, and you could get a deposit match up to $1,000.
J7 says comparing Brunson to Josh Allen is crazy. Dude, he was in the MVP voting last year.
He probably didn't watch the game last night either.
It's actually a
He looked
perfect comparison.
He looked like the MVP last night. Like we had no defense. With Jalen Brunson.
I am not rolling with that comparison.
Who would you compare him to? NFL comp. Keep in mind, he was in the
Jalen
MVP.
Brunson is not a top player.
He was in the MVP voting. What do you mean not a top player?
Where he fall, Lesky? Where he fall, Lesky? Like put him rank him in the top something, like top 20, top 25, top 10.
Dude,
like where
according to
You
Ski,
realize how you started at 20? That's the problem right there.
Well, no, I'm just curious of where you would put Brunson.
Dude, this playoff run is going to be so fun because all the Knick haters are just really they're feeling Aki right now, and they're just exposed themselves. This playoff run is going to be fucking awesome. I got a bunch in the Discord too that think shit's sweet right now. Like this playoff run's going to be fucking awesome, and I'm never going to
naming players.
I'm going to be like sending mass texts.
I'm gonna start at like minimum 15 to even think about it.
He was in the MVP voting.
15, a little disrespectful, Ski. I don't think it's 15, Ski. That's a lot. Ski.
Like, what are we doing? He was in the MVP voting. There's only 5 players in the MVP voting. So start at top 5 because he's in there.
I'm with you here, Gal. I agree with you here.
Of course, because you're a logical person. Ski's just on some disrespectful hater shit. All right.
Hey, Prop Beaver. Hey, I can tell Cal been hanging around you because I know Aki came from you. That ain't him. I never heard Cal say anything like Aki before.
To be completely honest with you, that's his own term.
I always say that.
Yeah, he's I don't know what the hell that is.
Feeling Aki, like I don't really know where I got that from. It's probably from a movie or something. All right, everyone, have a good day. Bet responsibly. Probably do some kind of show tomorrow. Toast is in Hawaii, so I don't have college basketball for today. Plus the teams that are playing, I can't even pronounce most of them. So, yeah, we'll be back tomorrow for some kind of morning show. I'll let you know. The Sauce Network app is almost complete. In fact, I think I'll be sending you guys an email of how to sign up for the notifications. Very excited about it. Just had a breakthrough last night. So I think that's going to be back today. Enjoy your day. Bet responsibly. Go ahead and lay 7.5 with the Clippers and see how that works out.